Hello everybody, how you doing this morning? It is Sunday, I don't know, about 10, almost 10 o'clock. We have some guests coming over in an hour, hour and a half or so, but I had a few minutes, so I came out to the shop to get back on this lathe, and the motor mount that I built, I now have mounted to the top, the bench top of my lathe bench. I had to move the armature out of the way. Let me show you what it looks like. I've got it mounted to the table. It took quite a bit of measuring to get everything lined up properly where it was in alignment with the lathe, and I noticed that my armature is cocked off to one side. So what I'm going to do when I put this back on, I will adjust it. I'll straighten the armature out to make sure that all the pulleys are in perfect alignment with the headstock of the lathe. But the way it's going to work is, we'll just slide our motor in here, lay it down. I've got a faceplate that goes on the other end and some longer screws. That's what I picked up last night, which will lock this to the front board. And then I have some strapping that I'll use over the lathe to lock the motor in so that the motor doesn't all of a sudden, if like I said, the belts should slip, but if something were to happen and the belt didn't slip, I don't want the motor jerking in the cradle. So I'll put a bit of strapping over it and lock it down as tightly as I can. But I think this is going to be great, and I'm exactly, if I can move around the corner here, this the center of this spindle is exactly 3 inches from the tabletop, which is where the other motor sat. So I really think this should work. I'm excited about it. So let me get back on it. I want to get this finished mounted, make sure everything is tight, all the bolts are put in place, etc., and strapped down, and then we'll get the armature back, and I'd like to test it. Maybe I can do it this morning, but I don't want to rush. I know I'm on a timetable, but I really don't want to rush because I want to make sure it's done right, so I'm taking my time. So we'll get as much as we can done this morning. If I have time this afternoon, I'll finish up. Otherwise, I'll bring it to you and show you what I did next chance I get. I've got the motor mounted, and it's pretty darn solid. If I rock it, I rock the whole table, so I'm real happy with that. Looks like the shaft comes out perfectly straight, 3.5 inches up. I'm going to go ahead now and get the pulley installed on it. And I'm not going to tighten the pulley down because what I want to do is get the armature hanging above it so that I can align the two. Then we'll lock the armature down, and then we'll tighten the pulley so that we have, I need good belt alignment. Otherwise, while I'm running, the belt could run right off. Okay, I ran into a little problem. Nothing too major, but notice the pulley sitting here, and I'll put the other pulley down on the shaft of the motor, and it should have pretty good alignment. Well, you'll remember in an earlier video, these 3 pulleys, there should be 4-step pulleys. I had slid them over. They are no longer in line with where they need to be. This needs to go all the way in, so I need to have a collar on here. So this piece of wood is in the way because the mount is too far out. What I need to do is shift all this over. I need to remove all this, shift all this over, get a spacer in there in lieu of the 4th pulley, and then realign everything, because this should actually be back, it looks like, I don't know, 1/2 inch. Oh, okay. Hey, at least we know the concept is coming together. We just need to do a little work to get everything lined up. I've got the motor remounted, and you see I've got a nice alignment between the upper and lower pulleys. Everything looks pretty good. The one thing I'm going to need to focus on is I'm going to have to get, I need a collar, or I need the proper step-down pulleys, and I haven't really got online and searched for those. I think that's probably what I'll do, because I can't guarantee these are the proper sizes, so that way when I open the door here and you take a look at all these speeds, which is what you want to turn at, I can't guarantee I'm getting those unless I have the proper pulley here. So I think that'll be my next step, is to try to research that. But if we flip this on, actually, if we, let's watch this. If we lock this down, we got a nice tight belt there. This belt's got a little play in it. I might need to go with a size smaller, or potentially it could be the pulley causing that. But let me flip the lathe on. She's a running. Looks like, hang on a second. Oh, you know what? I didn't lock my interior pulley. This is set up for the back gears. Let me lock this main gear, and then it should turn the headstock. I'll be right back. Now you can see the headstock spindle is moving. I think a little bit of this play over here, you notice the gap here. I think I need to work on that a little bit. That's going to be the next thing I need to focus on. But overall, it's running pretty good. I think that motor is going to work out just fine. Like I said, I got a couple things to do. The biggie is I want those step down pulleys for the backside, because if I compare those to the pulleys on the front, they look to be just a tiny bit off in size, and I really need the same set of step down pulleys on the armature as I have in the lathe. Let me loosen those belts up. No sense leaving those tension on those. I think this is going to work real well. The last piece of this is I just need to mount the switch and get the faceplate back on it so that, you don't stick a finger in there and get yourself shocked. But that's not going to be a real big deal. And then the cord that came with the lathe, I'm just going to wrap that up, put a couple zip ties around it, and I'll just screw it into the side of the cart, because in the future you don't know what might happen. I might come across another 3/4 horse motor or another larger motor like the one that I had on here, and I may want to go ahead and re-employ those wires. So because they look like they've been recently run, they're all brand new. So I don't want to cut them up and throw them away and then have to redo that. So we're just going to kind of leave that for now. I am really happy. I am close. Once I figure out, I got to get that spacer. I keep talking about that, or that step down pulley, because I can't afford that wobble in the back, because the belt could actually, if that pulley was to move, the belt could actually work its way off the pulleys, which would make the lathe stop mid-motion and could cause a problem with the piece I'm working on. So yeah, I'm real happy. I am super close. I'm going to start working on that pulley next. I'll keep you guys posted on what I find out. I've got the switch mounted. Just put it right below the other one. I've got the old cord just curled up. Hit the switch. We have power. Listening for that knocking noise, as I come back to the back, the knocking noise, I'm thinking it's in this back pulley. Look how that thing is wobbling. I don't know if the pulley's bent or if it's just mounted, at an angle. I'm going to try to adjust this out and see if I can help it at all. I've been working with this quite a bit. A couple things I found. This particular pulley has two Allen screws, and there's a flat spot on the pulley, and one of those screws was hitting the flat spot. Another was hitting one of the curved parts of the shaft. So I removed the pulley and I put the flat part down here so that these are both, since they come in at an angle, they're both hitting the curved shaft. That helped a little bit. There's still some wobble. What I've done here is I've grabbed a punch that is the exact same size as the armature shaft, and I've mounted this pulley to it. And now what we're going to do is I've got the lathe on its lowest possible speed. I'm just going to turn it on and take a look at that. This looks like it's spinning smooth, but look at the pulley. That's what the rattle's coming from. That pulley is bent. It didn't look like it, but it is. So I think I'm going to have to source one of these online as well. Well, I think we found the cause of our noise. So it looks like what I have left to purchase for this lathe is a set of step-down pulleys, or if I can't find those, temporarily a collar to be able to lock that armature in place. And then I need an outside set of pulleys for the armature. So I'm going to call it quits for now. I may be back later this evening. I don't know, but our guest will be here really any time now. So I want to go ahead and get inside, get cleaned up. I'll work on putting this video together, and if I come out later tonight, I'll shoot another shop update. So we'll call this one closed. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for hanging out with me. And if you got a line on these pulleys, these step downs or these outside pulleys, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And also on that belt, you notice that top belt? Well, you know what? Let's wait until we get the step-down pulleys before I worry. That's a brand new belt. I was worried it may have been a tiny bit too large. I was going to talk about a smaller size belt, but I think I better get the proper pulleys on there because that could make all the difference. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for hanging out with me, and if we come back out to the shop later, I'll shoot another update of what I do this evening.